Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be doing a little first impressions of a new foundation. This one is by Stila. This is the Stay All Day foundation and concealer. So this is what the packaging looks like. And if you just pop off the top, there is where you will have the foundation. And then this little guy up here is your panned concealer. So whenever I first saw this on Instagram, I was really gravitated toward it. Oh my God, I cannot speak, you guys. I was really gravitated towards it because I love the idea of having a foundation and a concealer all in one. This does retail for $40, which for a high-end foundation and a concealer is a pretty fair deal in my opinion. It comes with, let me see, 1 fluid ounce of the foundation, and then it has 0.04 fluid ounces of the concealer. So I think that that is a pretty decent amount for the price that you are paying for. And yeah, so basically with the foundation, I've only had it for the length that I've done this video. I am going to be doing a more in-depth review, but this is just a first impressions video. So whenever I was applying it, it applied absolutely beautifully. It gives such a flawless finish. For me personally, I did use a hydrating primer and it did tend to be a little more dewy on my skin. It says it lasts, you know, all day, stay all day foundation. So I'm not really sure about the staying power of it yet, but I will be wearing it for several hours. So I will let you guys know in my in-depth review about whether or not it stays on for as long as it claims to stay on for. But first impressions, it is absolutely gorgeous. The concealer was super easy to use. I love how it comes in the little pan right here. I've never really worked a ton with panned concealers before, but this one is really, really beautiful. I just use a flat brush to apply it underneath my eyes as well as my eye primer. I was a little bit worried that it might crease immediately on my eyelids, but as soon as I put on my loose translucent powder over top of it, there was no creasing at all. First impression, so we'll see how it lasts throughout the night. But as of right now, it looks absolutely gorgeous. I'm really, really excited for this foundation and concealer duo. I'm hoping that I like it as the night goes on, but we will see. So I am going to go ahead and jump into the demonstration part of this video for you guys, and I hope that you enjoy. Bye. Okay, so for my primer, I'm going to be taking the Becca Backlight Priming Filter because my skin has just been pretty dry recently with a lot of the weather changes. So I also like to use this primer when I'm testing out new foundations because it is one of my favorite primers, and I know that it doesn't break me out. So if a foundation does break me out, then I will know that it is the foundation and not the primer. Okay, so this is what the packaging looks like. So we just pop off this lid here, and then whenever you squeeze it down, it has a pump that releases the foundation into this little area. I will say that whenever I was at Ulta and I was trying this foundation, that it did kind of like squirt up. So since I'm going to dinner, I'm going to be putting this that way. Hopefully it won't like get all over my dress. It's a really interesting method for a foundation. I'm having to like pump it a couple of times. There it goes. Okay, so it came out like this. If you guys can see, there's a pretty good size amount with like 2 full pumps there. And I'm also going to be using my Real Techniques beauty sponge because again, every single time that I am testing out a new foundation, I go with like my most trusted products. To make sure that it is the actual foundation that I am testing out and not one of the other products that I'm not like really focused on. So I just kind of swiped it onto my damp beauty sponge. I'm going to lightly tap it around my face and blend it in. Okay, so it does seem to be pretty nice coverage. And anytime you use a damp beauty sponge, you are going to have a little more luminosity and sheerness to your foundation than you would if you were to like use a brush. So just keep that in mind, but this is definitely pulling full coverage for sure, even though I'm using the damp beauty sponge. I'm liking the color. It's not pulling streaky or anything like that, which is good. And it seems to be like a perfect match. So that's always a plus. Okay, so now I have all of my foundation on, and it definitely has more of that luminosity to it. Keep in mind though that I did put a luminizing primer underneath, so it is going to pull more of the luminosity. It's sitting really, really beautifully on the skin. I didn't notice any patchiness. I would definitely say again that it is a full coverage foundation. It's also buildable on the areas that I have a little bit of acne going on right now. So one layer was okay, but I just prefer to have it really concealed anytime I'm breaking out. It blended out beautifully with the damp beauty sponge. Obviously, I can't attest to how it would work with a brush, but with the damp beauty sponge, the application is absolutely gorgeous. So hopefully the concealer is just as good. Now on top of this little guy right here, if you flip it up, you have the concealer. So it is a cream-based concealer. It's not super liquidy. It reminds me a lot of the texture of the Tarte Shape Tape concealer, but just in a pan form, because that one is still really thick as well. So I'm going to be using a BH Cosmetics, it's just pretty much like a flat synthetic haired brush, and it's a little bit bigger than like a shader brush you would use for your eye. And I'm going to dig in to the concealer. I'm going to apply it underneath my eye as well as on the eyelid, and then I'm going to be setting it with my Kat Von D loose powder. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, so first off, it's really easy to get the concealer out. It's like super creamy, so we'll see how it looks. Oh my gosh. Okay, it is super, super creamy, if you guys can see that. That's awesome. It looks definitely to be full coverage. I'm not having to like put a ton of product on. So that's good. I'm curious to see if it's going to crease on my eyelid after I set it, since it is a little bit of a thicker consistency. Okay, I'm also going to use my Real Techniques beauty sponge to just buff this into the skin. And it seems to be buffing out really, really nicely. First impressions of it. It's easy to blend out. It's not like hard like I thought it would be. If you guys have the cream contour kits from Anastasia Beverly Hills, those are a little difficult for me to blend out with a damp beauty sponge, but this one is not. It's like super, super easy to blend out. It's already done. So that's nice. And it does appear, the shade appears to be just a tad bit lighter than the actual foundation shade, which is nice if you're wanting to like highlight and kind of reflect with underneath your eyes. So that's nice. Okay, there's a little tiny piece of the concealer right here that kind of gunked up and flaked off, but that's it. It was like really, really tiny. Now I'm going to apply some of the Kat Von D translucent powder to my eyelids to set that. And then I'm also going to bake underneath of my eyes and my chin. These are the areas that have just been getting a little too moisture prone on me, and my nose. Okay, so I did that just to kind of see how it sets with a loose powder. And then once I sweep all of that away, we'll be able to see how it mixes with a translucent powder. Okay, so now I'm just going to use this really big Eco Tools powder brush to kind of just wipe all of the powder away and see how it sits with the foundation. Okay, so now I'm going to zoom you guys in so you can see exactly how it is setting with that translucent powder. Okay, so here is an up and close and personal view of the foundation. If you guys can see, obviously I have a little bit of texture around here, but like underneath the eyes, the concealer did a really, really good job. There's a tiny little bit of creasing underneath. But other than that, it looks really nice. And on the forehead and the cheek area, it looks absolutely flawless. A really, really nice finish of the foundation. So far so good. Okay, y'all, so that concludes this video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed watching this first impressions video of the Stila Stay All Day foundation and concealer duo. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up for me and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'll see you guys in my next one.